The CSS Horizon cut through deep space like a phantom, its quantum-shifted hull absorbing all traces of radiation. At 3 kilometers long, the vessel represented humanity's pinnacle achievement after 2 centuries of isolation and advancement. In the command center, Captain Sarah Chen stood before the main holographic display, her neural implants processing tactical data as she studied the approaching alien fleet. Quantum signatures detected. Lieutenant Marcus Rodriguez reported from his station, augmented fingers dancing across neural interfaces. 27 vessels. Formation suggests diplomatic escort. Their energy signatures are primitive by our standards. Sarah's expression remained neutral, but her enhanced heart quickened slightly. After centuries of self-imposed isolation following the devastating First Contact War, humanity was about to reveal itself to the galaxy again. The question wasn't whether they could dominate this encounter, but whether they should. Analysis of their weapon systems, she ordered, her voice carrying the weight of command earned through decades of service in Earth's defense force. Primarily fusion-based weapons and particle accelerators. Commander Yuki Tanaka responded from tactical. Their most advanced systems are roughly equivalent to what we fielded a century ago. No quantum weaponry, no dimensional phasing capability. The bridge crew maintained their professional composure, but Sarah sensed their collective tension. The loss of billions in the First Contact War had taught humanity harsh lessons about technological superiority and complacency. They had rebuilt in secret, advancing their technology beyond anything their ancestors could have imagined. They're broadcasting on all frequencies, Communications Officer James Chen announced. Standard mathematical sequences appears to be a first contact protocol. Their language structure suggests a federation of multiple species. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. Prepare for reveal sequence alpha. Let's introduce ourselves properly. The Horizon's stealth field began to dissolve in a carefully choreographed sequence designed to minimize panic while demonstrating clear technological superiority. To the alien fleet, it would appear as if a massive warship was materializing from nothing. The reaction was instant. The alien vessels scattered into defensive formations, their outdated weapons charging in panic. Sarah could almost feel their fear through the tactical display. They're broadcasting emergency signals, James reported. Translation matrix complete. They're identifying themselves as the Kraxan Federation. They're requesting our intentions while simultaneously begging us not to destroy them. Open a channel, Sarah commanded. Full spectrum. Let's show them humanity remembers its diplomatic protocols. The main view screen illuminated with the image of an alien bridge. The commander appeared to be a crystalline being, its translucent body pulsing with internal light. Fear and fascination warred in its faceted features. This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Confederate spaceship Horizon, she announced, the ship's AI translating her words into the alien language. We come seeking peaceful contact with the Kraxan Federation. The crystalline being's light patterns fluctuated in what their cultural database suggested was surprise. I am High Commander Zaxtel of the Kraxan Defense Force. Your appearance is most unexpected. Our records show no civilization in this region capable of producing such a vessel. We come from beyond your known space, Sarah replied diplomatically. Our people have been traveling and advancing for a very long time. A vessel of such size appearing from nowhere. Zaxtel's crystal structure dimmed slightly. You must understand our concerns about security. Of course, Sarah nodded. We're transmitting our peaceful intent protocols now. However, I should mention that we detected your fleet long before revealing ourselves. Had our intentions been hostile? She left the implication hanging. The alien commander's light patterns pulsed rapidly. Perhaps, they said carefully, we should arrange a proper diplomatic meeting. Our council would be very interested in learning about your people. As the initial contact proceeded, Sarah reflected on the irony of their situation. Humanity had nearly been destroyed in their first encounter with alien life. Now they returned to galactic society as technological giants, their advancement forged in the crucible of survival and necessity. The real question wasn't whether humanity could establish peaceful relations with the Kraxan Federation. It was whether the Federation would be wise enough to accept the new balance of power without forcing humanity to demonstrate exactly why they had built ships like the Horizon. The scars of the First Contact War still burned too deep for complacency. The Horizon and her sister ships would ensure humanity never faced extinction again. But perhaps, just perhaps, they could also help forge a lasting peace. What Sarah couldn't know was that the Kraxan Federation was harboring a terrible secret, one that would soon force both civilizations to choose between isolation and survival. The Grand Council chamber of the Kraxan Federation sparkled with the crystalline forms of its leadership, their bodies refracting light in complex patterns that betrayed their unease. Captain Sarah Chen stood before them, her dress uniform bearing the silver phoenix of Earth's defense force. Behind her, Commander Yuki Tanaka and diplomatic officer Elena Santos flanked her position, a subtle reminder that humanity came prepared for both war and peace. Supreme Chancellor Ixtel, their crystalline form towering 3 meters high, addressed the chamber. You claim to seek peaceful relations, yet you arrive in a vessel that surpasses our entire defense fleet. Why should we not interpret this as an implicit threat? Sarah's neural implants registered the rising tension in the room. With respect, Chancellor, we didn't build the Horizon to threaten anyone. We built it to survive. Survive what? High Commander Zaxtel demanded from their military oversight position. What force could possibly necessitate such overwhelming military power? Before Sarah could respond, alarms blared through the council chamber. Emergency holographic displays materialized, showing a massive tear in space-time at the system's edge. Commander Tanaka's augmented eyes widened as she processed the sensor data. Captain, she whispered, those energy signatures. They matched the Void Hunters. The Kraxan leader's light patterns dimmed in collective terror. Chancellor Ixtel's voice trembled. You know of the Hunters. Sarah's enhanced heart skipped a beat as understanding dawned. The Void Hunters are why your fleet was in that sector. You weren't on patrol. You were running. They have consumed 12 of our outer colonies, Zaxtel admitted, their crystalline form pulsing with grief. Nothing we possess can stop them. They break down matter at the quantum level, absorbing energy and information. Entire worlds just vanish. The tactical displays showed 3 massive vessels emerging from the spatial tear, each one larger than the Horizon. Their hulls seemed to bend light around them, as if reality itself rejected their existence. How long have you been fighting them? Sarah demanded. Fighting. Chancellor Ixtel's laugh was bitter. We cannot fight them. We can only flee, warn others, and pray they do not follow. They have pursued us across 17 systems, consuming everything in their path. We estimate they have destroyed over 30 civilizations in the past decade alone. Sarah exchanged glances with her officers. Humanity had spent centuries preparing for threats exactly like this, developing weapons and defenses that pushed the boundaries of physics itself. But facing such an enemy would mean revealing capabilities they had hoped to keep secret. Captain. Elena Santos stepped forward, her diplomatic training evident in her measured tone. The Kraxan Federation spans over 300 worlds. If the Void Hunters aren't stopped here, they'll have access to resources and technology that will make them even stronger. Sarah finished. She turned back to the Kraxan leadership. Tell me everything you know about their capabilities. Every detail matters. Over the next hour, the Kraxan shared their horrifying intelligence. The Void Hunters weren't just destroying civilizations, they were assimilating them, adding each species unique characteristics to their own capabilities. Their technology evolved with each conquest, making them increasingly difficult to evade. Our scientists theorize they originated from another universe, Zaxtel explained, projecting images of the Hunter's evolution. One where the fundamental laws of physics differ from our own. That's why conventional weapons have no effect. They exist partially outside our reality. Sarah's neural implants processed this information against humanity's theoretical weapons research. That would explain why they break down matter at the quantum level. They're not just destroying it. They're converting it to match their native universe's properties. Precisely, Chancellor Ixtel confirmed, which is why we must evacuate this system immediately. Our long-range sensors suggest we have perhaps 40 hours before they arrive. Sarah stood silent for a moment, her enhanced mind running combat simulations. The Horizon possessed weapons specifically designed to affect quantum-state enemies, but they had never been tested in actual combat. Using them would reveal humanity's most closely guarded technological secrets. "No," she said finally. "No more running." The Kraxan leader's light patterns fluctuated in shock. "You cannot be serious." Zaxtel protested. "Even your advanced vessel cannot stand against them alone." "We won't be alone." Sarah's voice carried steel-hard conviction. "The Horizon has been in constant communication with Earth. I've received authorization to reveal that we have 2 more ships of our class in nearby systems. Together, we might have a chance." "Might." Chancellor Ixtel pressed. "You would risk everything on a might." Sarah's expression softened slightly. "Chancellor, humanity once faced extinction ourselves. We survived because we chose to stand and fight, no matter the odds. We've spent centuries preparing for threats exactly like this." She activated her neural implants, projecting classified technical specifications into the chamber's holographic system. The Kraxan leaders stared in awe at weapons that defied their understanding of physics. "We developed these technologies precisely because we feared somehow, an enemy like the Void Hunters existed. Now we know we were right." Sarah's voice carried the weight of humanity's determination. "The question isn't whether we'll fight. The question is whether the Kraxan Federation will stand with us." As the council chamber erupted in debate, Sarah received a priority communication from Earth Command. The Void Hunters had changed course, accelerating far faster than the Kraxans' projections suggested possible. They would arrive in less than 20 hours. Sarah looked at the arguing council members and realized with grim certainty that they were about to discover exactly why humanity had spent centuries preparing for war. The nightmare wasn't approaching slowly as they had thought. It was already here. The Horizon's command center had been transformed into a joint operations facility, holographic displays showing the positions of both human and Kraxan forces throughout the system. Captain Sarah Chen stood at the central tactical table, her neural implants processing battle scenarios as she studied the approaching threat. "CS Artemis and CSS Orion have cleared Quantum Fold," Lieutenant Rodriguez reported. "They'll reach our position in 3 hours." The massive hologram showed 2 more human vessels emerging from quantum space, each as imposing as the Horizon. Their arrival sent ripples of hope through the Kraxan tactical officers present, their crystalline forms brightening noticeably. "The evacuation of civilian populations is proceeding as planned," Commander Zaxtel announced, their crystalline body pulsing with barely contained anxiety. "But we've lost contact with our outer sensor arrays. The Void Hunters are somehow affecting quantum communications." Sarah nodded grimly. "They're learning, adapting to our defenses before we even engage them." She turned to Commander Tanaka. "Status of the quantum phase cannons." "Modified and ready," Tanaka reported. "We've adjusted the phase variance to match what we learned from the Kraxan data. In theory, we should be able to affect the Hunter's quantum state." "But Captain," she hesitated, "the power requirements are enormous. Each shot will drain nearly 30% of our core capacity." "Forward this data to Artemis and Orion," Sarah ordered. "We'll need perfect synchronization for this to work." She turned to the Kraxan officers. "What's the status of your fleet's modifications?" A holographic diagram appeared, showing the Kraxan vessels being fitted with human quantum stabilization technology. It was a desperate gamble, giving advanced tech to a relatively unknown species, but the alternative was watching another civilization fall to the Hunters. "The enhanced shields are operational on 60% of our capital ships," Zaxtel reported. "But these modifications, they're far beyond anything we've ever attempted." Some of our crews are struggling to understand the basic principles. They don't need to understand everything, Sarah assured them. They just need to follow the protocols we've established. The quantum stabilization fields will help protect them from the hunter's matter conversion effect. Captain Elena Santos called out, her diplomatic expertise detecting subtle shifts in the Kraxan officers' behavior. They're not telling us something. The crystalline being's light patterns flickered in what humans had learned to recognize as shame. Chancellor Ixtel's holographic projection appeared in the command center. We have not been entirely forthcoming, the Chancellor admitted. We have encountered others who tried to fight the Void Hunters, species more advanced than ourselves, though perhaps not as advanced as humanity. None survived. But in each case, the Hunters didn't simply destroy them. They changed them. The Chancellor transmitted new data, showing horrifying transformations. Species twisted into shapes that shouldn't exist in normal space, their very atoms realigned to serve the Hunters' impossible physics. They don't just consume, Ixtel continued. They convert. Those they don't outright destroy are transformed into extensions of their will. We've faced former friends and allies, their bodies and minds warped into weapons for the Hunters. Sarah's enhanced heart maintained its steady rhythm, but her organic hand clenched into a fist. Why didn't you share this information earlier? Because we feared you would withdraw your help, Zaxtel admitted. The risk isn't just defeat, it's becoming part of their arsenal. If they successfully convert your ships, your technology, they would gain quantum phase capabilities, Tanaka whispered. They could bypass any conventional defense in the galaxy. The command center fell silent as the implications stank in. Humanity had developed their technology in isolation, pushing the boundaries of physics to ensure they would never again be vulnerable. But now that very advancement could become a weapon against all life in the galaxy. Sarah's neural implants highlighted incoming data from the approaching Void Hunters. They were accelerating again, their impossible drives leaving tears in space-time itself. The battle would begin within hours. Send this information to Earth Command immediately, she ordered. But we're not withdrawing. If anything, this makes it more crucial that we stop them here. You would still risk everything. Chancellor Ixtel's hologram flickered with disbelief. Knowing what could happen if you fail. Sarah's response carried the weight of humanity's long isolation, their centuries of preparation and determination. Chancellor, we didn't spend 300 years advancing our technology just to run from the first real threat we encountered. Humanity remembers what it means to face extinction. We remember what it means to stand alone against the impossible. She gestured to the tactical display, where the combined human and Kraxan fleets were taking up defensive positions. But we're not alone anymore. Your people have faced these monsters for years, gathering intelligence, learning their patterns. We have the weapons. You have the knowledge. Together, we have a real chance. The command center erupted in activity as final battle preparations began. The 3 human warships moved into formation, their quantum cores synchronizing for combined operations. The Kraxan fleet, newly equipped with quantum stabilization technology, formed up around them in layered defensive patterns. As Sarah watched the preparations, she received a priority alert from the Horizon's long-range sensors. The Void Hunters had launched some kind of probe toward their position. As they tracked its approach, its quantum signature began to shift, taking on patterns that shouldn't exist in normal space. All ships, battle stations, she commanded. They're not waiting anymore. The nightmare comes now. The probe exploded in a burst of impossible energy, tearing a hole in reality itself. Through that hole came humanity's greatest test, and their chance to prove that sometimes the best defense against monsters isn't running. It's becoming something the monsters fear. Reality itself seemed to scream as the Void Hunters emerged from their dimensional tear. 3 massive vessels that defied conventional physics, their hulls shifting between states of matter like fevered dreams. Behind them came smaller craft, corrupted ships from fallen civilizations, their forms twisted into weapons that shouldn't exist. Multiple quantum distortions detected. Lieutenant Rodriguez reported, his augmented fingers dancing across neural interfaces. They're attempting to establish conversion fields across the defensive line. Kraxan fleet reporting quantum stabilization fields at maximum. Commander Zaxtel added, their crystalline form pulsing with determination. But the strain on our systems is immense. Sarah's neural implants processed tactical data as she studied the approaching horror. The Void Hunters moved like predators, their impossible forms rippling with stolen technologies and corrupted physics. Artemis, Orion, execute pattern Delta, she commanded. Concentrate quantum phase cannons on the lead vessel. Let's show them what happens when you corner humanity. The 3 human warships moved in perfect synchronization, their advanced drives allowing maneuvers that seemed to bend space itself. Energy began to build in their quantum cores, drawing power for a synchronized strike. Enemy vessels launching convergent probes. Tanaka reported. Trajectory suggests they're targeting the Kraxan defensive line. Not today. Sarah's voice carried steel-hard conviction. All ships, execute Point Defense Protocol Omega. Nothing reaches our allies. Space lit up with defensive fire as human and Kraxan weapons targeted the incoming probes. Each blast was precisely calculated, destroying the threats before they could deploy their reality-warping payload. But the Void Hunters were learning, adapting their attacks with each failed attempt. The lead hunter vessel suddenly accelerated, its form elongating impossibly as it charged the defensive line. Its surface rippled, revealing weapons stolen from a dozen fallen civilizations. Energy beams that ignored conventional physics lashed out at the combined fleet. Quantum phase cannons charge, Rodriguez announced. All 3 ships showing synchronized targeting solutions. Fire. The human warships unleashed their main weapons, 3 beams of pure quantum energy that ignored traditional spacetime. The hunter vessel tried to shift its quantum state to avoid the attack, but the synchronized strike was too precisely calculated. Reality cracked around the point of impact as human weapons, designed to affect quantum state enemies, met their intended target for the first time. The hunter vessel's impossible hull began to break apart, its stolen technologies failing as the quantum strike forced it to exist fully in normal space. As it died, it released a psychic scream that echoed through every mind in range. This should not be possible. Second hunter vessel changing course, Tanaka reported. They're targeting the horizon specifically. The third is moving to engage the Kraxan fleet. They've identified us as the primary threat, Sarah realized. Artemis, Orion, maintain position. Prepare for second synchronized strike. Kraxan fleet, execute defensive pattern Epsilon. Remember your training. The battle descended into organized chaos as the remaining hunters split their forces. The vessel targeting Horizon unleashed weapons that seemed designed specifically to counter human quantum technology, likely developed from studying the first strike. Hull breach on Deck 7. Rodriguez called out. Quantum stabilization fields holding but power reserves dropping. Kraxan fleet reporting heavy casualties. Zaxtel added. Our modified shields are failing against sustained assault. Sarah's tactical systems calculated options in microseconds. The hunters were learning too quickly, adapting to their weapons and strategies. They needed something unexpected, something the enemy couldn't predict because it defied tactical logic. All ships, execute maneuver Trinity, she commanded. Kraxan fleet, fall back to secondary positions. Captain, Tanaka protested. Trinity maneuver wasn't designed for combat. It's a power transfer protocol for deep space operations. Exactly. Sarah's neural implants interface directly with the Horizon's quantum core. The hunters adapt to weapons and tactics, so let's show them something that isn't supposed to be a weapon at all. The 3 human warships moved into a triangular formation, power beginning to flow between them through quantum-entangled channels. The Void Hunters hesitated, their impossible sensors unable to determine the purpose of this new configuration. Power transfer protocols engage, Rodriguez reported. Quantum cores linking. But Captain, if we do this, we'll drain our weapons and shields. Sometimes the best weapon is one that doesn't look like a weapon at all, Sarah responded. The hunters had reached the edge of the power transfer field, their hulls beginning to ripple as they prepared another attack. Now, the linked quantum cores released their energy not as a weapon, but as a pure expression of human physics. The power transfer field became a bubble of absolute normalcy in space, an area where the laws of our universe were enforced with technological precision. The hunter vessels, existing partially in another reality, suddenly found themselves forced fully into normal space. Their impossible technologies, their stolen weapons, their very forms dependent on operating outside conventional physics, all of it failed at once. All ships, conventional weapons, fire at will. The combined human and Kraxan fleet unleashed everything they had. Without their quantum state advantages, the hunters' corrupted hulls proved vulnerable to traditional weapons. Energy beams and gravitational weapons tore into vessels that had terrorized the galaxy for years. The battle seemed won until Sarah's neural implants detected a new quantum signature. The dying hunter vessels were attempting one final attack, their corrupted forms collapsing into a singularity that threatened to tear reality apart. "They're trying to take us with them," Tanaka shouted. "Gravitational readings off the scale." Sarah watched as the singularity began to grow, its pull threatening to consume everything nearby. But in that moment of crisis, she saw not defeat, but opportunity. "All ships, maintain formation," she commanded. "Kraxan fleet, fall back to minimum safe distance. Let's show these monsters one last human trick." The power transfer field still linked the 3 human warships. But now, instead of projecting normal physics outward, they turned their quantum cores inward, creating a bubble of altered space around the growing singularity. "Containment field established," Rodriguez reported. "But core power critical in all ships." "Hold position," Sarah ordered. Sometimes victory isn't about who has the biggest weapons. It's about who's willing to stand their ground until the very end. The singularity raged against the quantum containment field, but human technology held firm. In their arrogance, the hunters had assumed no species could match their manipulation of reality. They had never considered that humanity, driven by centuries of paranoid preparation, had developed technologies specifically designed to enforce the rules of normal space. The singularity collapsed in on itself, taking the last traces of the void hunters with it. In its wake, they left only floating debris and the knowledge that they could be defeated. The Grand Council chamber of the Kraxan Federation felt different now. Where fear and desperation had once filled the air, hope radiated from the crystalline forms of its leadership. Captain Sarah Chen stood before them again, but this time as an honored ally rather than a potential threat. The Horizon's quantum core was still recharging after the battle, its systems strained by the unprecedented tactics they'd employed. The Artemis and Orion had already returned to human space, carrying data and battle recordings that would revolutionize Earth's defensive strategies. But the most important work remained here, in this chamber, where the future of 2 civilizations would be decided. The defeat of the Void Hunters changes everything. Chancellor Ixtel addressed the assembled council, their crystalline form blazing with renewed vigor, not just for the Kraxan Federation, but for every spacefaring species in known space. "We've confirmed the destruction of all 3 hunter vessels," Sarah reported, her neural implants projecting tactical data into the chamber's holographic system. More importantly, the quantum containment field appears to have sealed the dimensional tear they used for transit. They won't be returning through that route. But there will be others. Commander Zaxtel noted, their light patterns showing concern. "The hunters we face were only one group. More exist in the dark between galaxies." Sarah nodded grimly. "Which is why what we do next matters more than what we've already done." The chamber fell silent as she activated a new holographic display, showing the combined human Kraxan fleet undergoing repairs. The battle had cost them dearly. Dozens of Kraxan ships lost, and even the mighty human warships had been pushed to their absolute limits. Humanity spent centuries preparing for threats like the Void Hunters, Sarah continued. We developed technologies that most species would consider impossible, all because we refused to ever be victims again. But the battle proved something we'd forgotten during our long isolation. We're stronger when we work together. You propose an alliance. Chancellor Ixtel's tone carried both hope and caution. I propose more than that, Sarah replied. The Kraxan Federation spans hundreds of worlds, maintains diplomatic relations with dozens of species. You understand this region of space in ways we never could. Meanwhile, humanity possesses technological advantages that could help protect all of those worlds. She gestured to the tactical display, where Kraxan engineers were already studying the quantum stabilization technology that had helped them survive the battle. We're not suggesting giving away all our advancements at once, but a gradual exchange of knowledge, a sharing of strengths. Together, we could build something greater than either of our civilizations could achieve alone. The Council has already received messages from 17 different species. Commander Zaxtel reported, their crystalline form pulsing with what humans had learned to recognize as amusement, all asking about the mysterious human warships that defeated the unstoppable Void Hunters. Let them ask. Sarah smiled slightly. The galaxy needs to understand that the rules have changed. The strong don't have to prey on the weak. Not anymore. Chancellor Ixtel's form brightened considerably. You would position our alliance as protectors. We would position ourselves as proof that advancement doesn't have to come at the cost of conscience, Sarah corrected. Humanity developed our technology out of fear, preparing for threats we weren't even sure existed. Now we have a chance to use it for something better. To protect, to build, to explore. The council chamber erupted in discussion as the implications became clear. The Kraxan Federation had influence but lacked the military strength to truly protect its allies. Humanity had power but lacked the diplomatic connections to properly emerge onto the galactic stage. Together, they could reshape the balance of power throughout known space. There will be opposition, Commander Zaxtel warned. Other powerful species may see our alliance as a threat. Let them. Sarah's voice carried absolute conviction. Humanity spent centuries hiding in the dark, preparing for the worst. We're done hiding. But we're also done letting fear drive our decisions. The Void Hunters proved that even the most terrifying enemy can be defeated when different species work together. As the Council moved to formally vote on the Alliance proposal, Sarah received a priority communication from Earth Command. The quantum signature analysis of the defeated Hunters had revealed something unexpected. Traces of technology from civilizations thought lost centuries ago. She looked at the celebrating council members and realized their victory had done more than save the present. It had given them a chance to uncover the fate of countless lost species, to perhaps even find survivors of the Hunters' previous attacks. The nightmare of the Void Hunters was over, but humanity's true mission was just beginning. They had emerged from isolation not as conquerors or victims, but as protectors. The galaxy would never be the same. And somewhere in the vast darkness between stars, other hunter vessels sensed the loss of their brethren. They began to alter course, drawn to investigate this new power that had done the impossible. But this time, they wouldn't find isolated civilizations awaiting slaughter. This time, they would find humanity standing guard, not alone, but alongside allies who had learned that the strongest defense against monsters isn't running or hiding. It's standing together, no matter what horrors the void might hold.